Olivia the Ballerina by Farah McDougall. Olivia and the other ballerinas in her class were lined up at the ballet bar, carefully practicing their pliés. It was time for Miss Melanie to recite the motto of the famous prima ballerina, Penelope Trinkletoes, just like she did at the end of every class. The secret to becoming a wonderful ballerina is to eat, sleep, and dream ballet. I wish I could spend the entire day at ballet class, Olivia told Francine. You know what would be even better? Ballet class all day, every day. Oh, I don't know, replied Francine. I love ballet too, but think of all the other fun stuff you wouldn't get to do. Olivia couldn't imagine anything else that she would rather be doing than ballet. She decided it was time to take Penelope Trinkletoes' motto more seriously. In order to become a prima ballerina like Penelope Trinkletoes, I have to eat, sleep, and dream ballet. That means I can't even stop thinking about ballet from now on, Olivia told her mom later that day. Okay, Olivia, replied her mother, but can you start after you've taken William out for a walk? He's getting a little fussy, and he needs a walk before his nap. Olivia decided there was no reason why she couldn't do both things at once, take William for a walk, and think about ballet. So after tucking William into her stroller, Olivia took him for a very special ballet walk down the street. 1, 2, 3 steps on my tippy toes, and stop, and plie. Olivia, what took you so long? Asked Mother when Olivia returned home a while later. Sorry, Mom, but I had to practice walking on my tippy toes, Olivia explained. Plus, I had to stop to do a plie after every 3 steps. But it was worth it because I never once stopped thinking about ballet the whole time. That night at dinner, Olivia had a wonderful idea. Let's speak French at the table tonight, Olivia told her family. Penelope Trinkletoes speaks French, so I speak French too. Then I'll be thinking like a real prima ballerina. Father decided to give it a try. He cleared his throat and said, Passe-moi la meatloaf, s'il vous plaît. You like meatloaf? Ian asked, scratching his head. You want gravy for your meatloaf? Olivia guessed. Father explained that he had asked them to please pass the meatloaf. Olivia frowned. This was not going according to plan at all. The next day at school, Mrs. Hagenmuller read a story to the class. Once upon a time, there was a boy who had magic beans, she began. Excuse me, Olivia asked, raising her hand. Is this story about ballet? No, Olivia, replied the teacher. This is a story about a boy and magic beans. As Mrs. Hagenmuller continued, Olivia began thinking about ballet anyway, and they lived happily ever after, said Mrs. Hagenmuller as she closed the book. Now for homework tonight, please think about the 3 things you like best about the story. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Then the bell rang and school was over. It was time for soccer. Today Olivia's team will be playing against the Webster School Wallabies, the biggest soccer rivals. Come on, Olivia, said Francine. You're goalie today. You gotta wear the red jersey. Whoosh! A ball zoomed towards the net. Olivia dived for it and caught it. Her teammates cheered. Olivia really loved being goalie, but then she realized she wasn't thinking about ballet. Then she had a brilliant idea. Instead of diving to catch the ball, she would practice her ballet leaps. Olivia stood in first position, waiting for the next ball to head for the goal. She didn't have to wait very long. Soon a ball came zooming towards her. Olivia raised her arms over her head and gracefully leapt towards the ball, and missed it. For the rest of the game, Olivia missed every single shot. The other team scored 10 goals and won the game. The next day at school, Olivia apologized to her teammates for not doing a great job as goalie. They understood, telling her that everyone has a bad game sometimes. But Olivia still felt bad for letting her team down. Okay, class, said Mrs. Hagenmuller, let's talk about the story I read yesterday. Olivia, can you tell me your 3 favorite parts of the story? Sure, replied Olivia happily. She loved being called on in class. But then she realized that she didn't know what the story is about because she had been daydreaming about ballet. Olivia, repeated Mrs. Hagenmuller. I'm sorry, I don't know, Olivia said sadly. After class was over, Olivia told Mrs. Hagenmuller that she was very sorry and explained why she was daydreaming about ballet. And so you see, I have to think about ballet all the time if I want to be a famous prima ballerina when I grow up, Olivia finished. I don't know about that, said Mrs. Hoggenmuller. I wanted to be a teacher when I was your age, but I didn't spend every moment thinking about it. I still did things that had nothing to do with teaching. And look at me now. Olivia looked carefully at Mrs. Hoggenmuller. She was definitely a teacher. Maybe there was still a way to be a prima ballerina even if she didn't think about ballet all the time. And then she had an idea, a perfect idea. Olivia decided that she would simply wear her ballerina outfit all the time. She could wear it while walking William, while paying attention in class, or while playing soccer. She really could wear it anywhere. So, Mom, that's why I have to wear my tutu to sleep, Olivia explained to her mother later that night. Mother smiled as she pulled the covers up to Olivia's chin. Good night, ballerina, Olivia.